I'm so excited you're here. My name is Tammy, and it's such a blessing to be able to come and share with you today. When the Widow Squad approached me about speaking in the summit and the fact that the entire summit is about purpose, I was like, heck yes, sign me up. Discovering your purpose and living it is my jam. This is my purpose. This is my calling. And I want to leave you today. I want to give you a tool that you can use because you don't have to leave it up to happenstance. You don't have to take years of contemplation and self-discovery and the journey to discover your purpose. And in fact, one of the things that I talk about in coaching is the fact that once we discover it, that's step one. It's creating it and creating the plan and living it. That's the real goal. And so getting to share this first part with you, it really excites me. And so I just want to say thank you to the Widow Squad for having me again. And let's do this. Let's talk about purpose. How do you discover your purpose? And a little bit about me. I'm an Air Force brat, an Air Force veteran, and an Air Force widow. About 12 years ago, I was coming home from my son's best friend's birthday party. In high fashion of toddler parties, my goal was to get home, get them lunch, and get them into bed for naps. And I knew that my window was short. And so I was focused, and I was very focused on what the task was at hand. I already had lunch prepared for them. So we got home, pulled it out of the fridge, lock them into their high chairs, get them fed, get them in the bed, and then I get an hour to myself. That was my plan. And I grabbed the two kids who are exhausted, by the way. It was at a bounce house. So, a 2 and 4-year-old bouncing all morning. They were exhausted. And so I was just in do mode. And so as soon as I start the process, I get a knock on the door. And I was thinking, who comes over anymore? So I was already annoyed because my plan is off, and who just comes unannounced. And when I opened the door, there was 3 men in service dress. My heart sank. My head was in disbelief. As an Air Force officer, one of my roles, one of the things that I did was prepare the men and women who had to notify the families. And I never in a million years thought that I would be notified, that I would get the knock on the door that my husband was killed in action. When they walked into the house and they told me there had been an accident, my heart sank. My life, I felt that not only did I lose my identity? Did I lose my husband? I lost my hopes, my dreams, my purpose. And I had 2 kids who are like, Mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, who are these men? Mommy. I sunk to the floor. And I knew in this moment that there had to be more. That I could feel that though this was going to be hard, understatement, that there's good that can come out of it. And so that's why I do what I do. And I help women find their purpose, find their calling, find their reason beyond the circumstances. Because while you're discovering your purpose, let me talk to you a few minutes about what it doesn't mean. Your pain is not your purpose. Your circumstances are not your purpose. What you've done in the past is not your purpose. Those are part of your story. That's part of who made you, what made you, you. Those are details. They're not definitions. And I wanted to talk to you today because the first thing that we need to do when we start looking for our purpose is we need to get past what we've been through and our circumstances and the pain that we felt. And it's time to look within first. It's time to get grounded and discover you, the essence of you. And then we can start building things on top of that. Then we can start bringing in what's been highlighted and some of the other key areas to discover your purpose. So today I'm going to focus on, because we only got 20 minutes, so I'm going to focus on the first part. And this is what I love helping my clients do. And so I'm really excited. So, because when we're faced with trials, we look for answers. We look for meaning. We look for what to take out of the circumstance, the trauma, and in our case, the loss of a loved one. So that way we can organize it. We can make it logical. And grief isn't logical. So this is part of this path that I've discovered, that I use, this framework that I use with my clients, and I just want to share it with you today. And the cool thing about this is all three of these parts you can do it with, like, on your own. You can do it with, you can work through them. But using this tool that I'm going to share with you cuts through the chase, cuts it down, makes it faster, and it gets to the heart of it, the core of it, very quickly. And so all of these can be used with one assessment and a little bit of understanding. And so first, let's talk about why we look within first. Why is it important? Because a lot of times we look on the outside of what do we do, what are our skills, how have we served before? What do we think our purpose is? What are other people tell us that our purpose is? But the thing is a lot of times our purpose isn't very logical. Our purpose doesn't play out how others see. And what we have in our hearts, in our knower, other people can't interpret. They don't see that, they don't feel that, they don't hear that. So let's talk about 3 reasons why we look within first. And I'm going to move along here because we're already at 7 minutes and I got some good stuff to share with you. So first, we're going to look because it ensures authenticity. So it's not about what others think you should do. It's not about what you've already been doing, whether you were successful at it or not. It's not about the skills that you hold. And we want to look at what's driving you in the first place. Where are the roadblocks and where are the negative beliefs that could be lurking? The next reason is it prevents misalignment and future dissatisfaction. If we don't look within and get really clear on who we are, we will tend to just go with the flow or make decisions based on what seems right or what others tell us is right, which, especially in the grief space, a lot of times those well-meaning friends and family, they make decisions that keep us safe, that don't help us become successful. And so some of our dreams, visions, and desires may have been lost when your loved one was lost. However, if we look at the core being, we can find them again. And so unless we know ourselves, we may go in a direction that seems easy or makes sense, but doesn't align with our ultimate purpose. So, and then the last one that I'm going to share is that it's more effective and leads to a meaningful impact. Let's cut through the chase. Let's take the detour and let's look at, let's get down to business, right? So you don't want to get down the road and realize that you're reaching for something that doesn't align with you, with your inner essence. That's what I'm talking about. Our purpose is important. It's grand, and it needs to be discovered. It is worth the work to uncover all of the extra stuff and get to the heart of it. And you are worth the time and you don't want to get lost in the doing. Your purpose is aligned with the being. We're human beings, not human doings. Your purpose is aligned with who you are, not necessarily what you do. And so here we go. Are you ready for this? I know the title already gives away the tool, but I want to take it a little bit step further. I'm going to explain it to you a little bit so that way you can see how to use it and how to use it quickly. But the Enneagram. I am a big fan of the Enneagram. When I discovered the Enneagram, I was very leery of it at the beginning, and finally I decided to go for it. And to say that it hypersped my grief process is an understatement. When I understood what I did, why I did it, and what were my fears, at that moment, I had answers for why I was grieving the way I was. And so the Enneagram is a motivations. It's a nature versus nurture. It's innate. It is who you are, not necessarily how you grew up. And once you know your Enneagram number, there's 9 numbers. None of them are wrong. None of them are bad. None of them are, there are some that are harder than the others, but honestly, we have our own stressors. We have our own issues. So there's not like, oh, I can't wait to be an Enneagram 7. No, there's like, you get to be all of them, but you have a main one. And so I'm not going to spend too much time diving into the Enneagram. At the end of this, I have a couple podcast episodes that I've done that you can go and you can get an understanding of the Enneagram. And so I'll point you to those podcast episodes when I'm done with this. But let's get into the meat of this. Okay, so on the path to purpose, I like to use the Enneagram. And let me tell you why. Because when we understand why we do what we do, it cuts out a lot of the BS. It cuts a lot of the, I wonder if this is right. It gives us a place to start and immediately start understanding our reactions to things. This is where knowledge absolutely is power. Because when you know why you're reacting in this way, you can start setting up roadblocks. You can start setting up rumble strips. You can start seeing like whether it's serving you or not and change what you want to change. You can change the way you see things. You can change the way you respond to things. You can change the way you show up in situations. And so though the Enneagram we can go deep on many things with this, but I'm going to stay really focused on 3 main parts for this. So I can help you actually get some action steps and take a step forward, like right after we're done here. So using it with grief, like I mentioned, like this helped me activate and be intentional about the way I grieved, the way I looked at myself. By understanding why I do what I do, it helped me change it. It helped me account for it. It enabled me to ask for help in a way that was helpful. I got support based on what I needed, not what others thought that I needed. And that's life-changing. It changes the way. It also gave me compassion for the way other people were helping that wasn't helpful, the things that they would say, because let's face it, how many times have we heard those like stupid things that people say? And you're like, did you just say that to me? Well, it allowed me to give them grace because they don't know why I do what I do. In fact, I didn't even know it. And I didn't understand why they would say what they would say. It was based on their fears and their motivations, what they needed. And so the Enneagram helps us uncover and become aware of old unhelpful habits that no longer serve us, our core drivers. And so, like I said, nature versus nurture, and it helps us learn about us, not about what others think we should be or do or any of that. So number 1, it helps us understand our emotional drives. We are emotional beings. And when we develop a deep understanding of our emotional responses, and we can do this by mapping them out when we're faced with decisions. You have to make a lot of decisions. And so at this point, we may be able to think about old decisions we made, but you start to understand, like, what am I feeling when I need to make a decision? And so you can do that. Like I said, you can do this. This is the first step no matter what. You can do this without the Enneagram, but if you just want to cut through the chase and like get it done, this is the way to do it. And you want to discover your core avoidances. Let's get clear on what's stopping you, what's derailing you. Let's acknowledge where rumble strips need to be put into place. Let's see what are your fears and how have they been protecting you? How have you been reacting to things in order to seek that protection, that really thick armor? And so first we need to give yourself grace for these. These are emotional triggers that deeply influence our reactions. And each type, like I said, there's 9 types, have a different core fear. And I'm going to run through them quickly, just really quickly, because again, like if you listen to the podcast episodes, it'll go more into detail about each number. But I really want to get you these steps. And so type 1 is the reformer and the fear of being corrupt, evil, or defective. Type 2 is the helper, fear of being unloved or unwanted for themselves, as themselves. Type 3, the achiever, feel of being worthless or failing to be seen as successful or valuable. Type 4, the individualist, fear of having no identity or personal significance. Type 5, the investigator, fear of being overwhelmed by the world or incapable or seen as incapable. Type 6, the loyalist, fear of being without support or guidance. Type 7, the enthusiast, fear of being deprived or trapped in pain or missing out, FOMO. The two numbers that have the most FOMO are 3 and 7, but all of us have them. Type 8, the challenger, fear of being harmed or controlled by others. And type 9, the peacemaker, fear of loss and separation. And type 9 seek harmony and to be seen. And so where we go with this, and I know I went through those fast, but I wanted you to hear some of these fears because these are the core essence of what we avoid. So whatever number you are and you look and you're like, okay, I am the loyalist, the fear of being without support. You're this is why you've been latching on to relationships that are not good for you, because the fear of being without support is worse than having bad support. And so by taking time, like here's your action step here. So take some time to think through a decision you've made. What are some of the common themes and emotions you've been experiencing? So take time to think about that and give yourself grace. Know that it's not easy to admit and to see your fears, but it's worth it. All right, we're going to keep moving along here because the next number 2 is understand your core motivations and desires. We have an innate desire that dictates our subconscious actions and beliefs. So this is what drives us, what we're fighting for, what we're driving to. This is what we desire the most. This is what we are really, this is part of our purpose in itself. This is what we want to bring to the world. And again, I don't have time to go through all of these in deep, but to give you a couple of them, the reformer is motivated by the desire to be good, right, and ethical. And you can see it's kind of the opposite of the fear. Type 4 is driven by the desire for identity and significance. Type 7, the enthusiast, is motivated by the desire to be satisfied and content and have their needs fulfilled. So you can see that these needs, they're very specific. And you can see how you can start exploring, how do they show up in your life? How are these motivations? And I know that when my husband died, when I realized like I'm a type 1 and I need to be motivated to do what's right and good and ethical. And I am a words of affirmation. And naturally my husband was he knew that I needed words of affirmation. It was very encouraging and would always tell me that, hey, this is the right way. And then all of a sudden that was missing. So when I discovered that, I was able to find it in other ways. And so the action step here is, what are some of the driving themes in your life? I want you to take time to journal on this, like really journal on this and ask yourself, what are some of the things that you've been really convicted by? Some of the decisions that you have made because of a driving force. So just give yourself time and to really look at that, consider it, and decide what motivates you. Because the other thing is, if we know what motivates us, we're going to know what to put into place to keep driving through those days that are difficult. We're going to be able to know where to put our celebrations and how to position ourselves so that way we have those desires in place so we can keep going and we are willing to get uncomfortable to not only discover our purpose, but live it and make an amazing and fulfilling impact. So the third one, this one's a little bit different. This one you need to know the other two before you step into this, and it's align your life with your inherent strengths. So through my coaching program, we also use a tool called the Clifton Strengths Finder. Excuse me, but really, you can do this with the Enneagram as well, because once we understand our motivations and we understand our core avoidances, then we can start looking at where are we the strongest. We can understand that what our motivations are, we've also put a lot of effort into. So when it comes to, like, say, a type 8, the challenger, and they're driven by the need to be self-reliant and to protect themselves from others and from injustice, some of their strengths are confrontation. They're a lot more, they are willing to challenge and to step up and speak up for themselves and for others. And so when you know that that's something that drives you is the injustice, then you can look at the strengths. Okay, how has that shown up? And how can I grow in that? How can I use that? And so with this action step, I want you to think of a time in the past where your strengths showed up in decision making. How did they manifest in your past roles and responsibilities? Like, how did, like, a type 8, how did that confrontation or the type 9 that's the peacekeeper, where they want to keep the peace and have harmony between people, how has that shown up in the past? So I want you to be thinking about that. Those 3 steps are going to get you on the right path. And as I wrap up, I want to share a resource with you. So this is a resource that I created. The Enneagram is the basis for this. However, you don't need the Enneagram to use this. And it's an instinctual resource. It's an instinctual reaction resource. It helps you identify your instinctual reaction, your instinctual center. So we have the heart, the head, and the gut. And so go and grab this. It's called Healing Centers. And it talks about how we can start to use our understanding of our reactions to change the course of our decisions. So we can respond instead of react. And then, like I promised, and so that is at www.go.tammymurraycoaching.com/healing centers. I know it's long. I'm sorry. I will get better at using those, like, short, pretty links. I spend more time studying personalities than tech. So there it is. But now let me tell you a little bit. The next resource is the Full Weight of Joy podcast. This is my absolute joy. This is one of the ways that I serve, and I have 2 episodes a week. And it initially was called the Her Restored Spirit podcast. So these episodes that I'm going to reference are, you'll hear the old intro, but they're still, it will help you understand your grief and the Enneagram. And so episode 11, 12, and 13 are really about the instinctual centers and understanding the numbers within those. So it goes right with the resource, the Healing Heart, Healing Centers resource for you. So pick that up because it will help you. And then episodes number 76 and 77, and it talks about how you can fast track your healing through the Enneagram. So, like, legitimately, like, these are right up your alley. Don't wait to listen to them. Like, listen to them right away because they will help you understand you better. And then the next, book a call with me. If you want to see what your purpose is and you want to take ownership and take power in your healing, and really it's past the healing. It's when you're ready to step into your purpose and live it. When you're ready to not make your story the center of sorry, I'm trying to speak fast because I have a lot of information for you. You're trying to stop letting the circumstances be the center of your story, and you get to be. When you're ready to step into that, when you're ready to move forward in life and joy and impact and fulfillment, that's when we need to talk, because this is what I do. This is my jam. This is my purpose. And I cannot wait to connect with you and show you how you can do it too. And it can be fun. It doesn't have to be all, well, I mean, we get to bring joy back into life. We get to enjoy the life we have ahead of us and carry our grief with us. So with that, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to connecting with you. Please reach out, get that resource, check out the podcast, specifically those episodes, and then book a call. Let's talk. Don't wait another minute to find healing and to step and live your purpose. All right. Bye for now.